Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming back to my channel, True Crime Files, and I'm your host, Kathy. Housekeeping rules: when you come in, please like, subscribe, all notifications, and share this story, please. This story needs to get out there. It's mind twisting because you don't know if the husband pushed his wife off the boat or if she generally did fall and that. There's a lot of ifs and buts, not necessarily ifs and buts, a bit of mystery because, like, the daughter was interviewed by Ashley Banfield, and this business where Brian says that his wife Lynette had the keys, apparently the keys have to stay in the ignition and they're on some string or something. So that's a bit suspect why that is. And like I said, I'm still very surprised neither of them had any life suits on, life jackets. And who goes out on a boat with no life jacket? You're just asking for trouble, really. And they were, even though they were experienced sailors, they still shouldn't take the risk for granted. They shouldn't think, oh, well, I'm experienced. I've had 10 years under my belt of sailing this boat. I don't need a life jacket because nothing's going to happen to me. I'm a strong swimmer. Things like that you cannot take for granted because you never know the way the sea's going to act. You have to respect the sea at all times. I did find something a little bit amusing, which I will bring up onto the page. I found it quite funny, actually. Not funny because his wife fell off, or so say fell off the boat, but this one here, where is it? This one. Let me just bring this up, make sure that you can see what I can see. And if I scroll up, make sure you can see scrolling. Yeah. Right. So this was posted, might help if I have my goggles on, 12 hours ago. Brian Hooker fell overboard as the police transported him, the attorney says. How ironic is that his wife happens to fall off a boat and then he does the same, except for he gets saved. But it makes me wonder if he deliberately fell off the boat. One good thing would have been he would have had a life jacket on because the police would have made sure he had a life vest of some form on. But I just thought it's a bit ironic how, his wife, Lynette, say fell overboard, but I presume he pushed her, listening to the evidence. But like I say, my opinions are my opinions. And everyone is innocent till proven guilty, unfortunately. So the title goes, excuse me, I always get a frog in my throat. Brian Hooker fell overboard as the police transported him. Brian Hooker fell off the boat while being transported on Wednesday, his attorney said, prompting a police rescue. His lawyer, Terrell Butler, said Hooker was handcuffed and that rough weather prevented him from holding on to the boat, causing him to fall overboard. Hooker was wearing a life vest and was rescued by the police, Butler said. Butler said Brian Hooker is suffering from knee pain, abrasions, and will be taken to Rand Hospital for treatment. Police initially interviewed Hooker and released him before bringing him back for further questionings as a witness. He was later questioned a third time as a suspect, his lawyer said. So this is his attorney. And it goes on to say, Brian Hooker was initially questioned as a witness before later being taken into custody in his wife's disappearance, his attorney said. His attorney, Terrell Butler, told Fox News Digital her client informed the police that he had an attorney, but the officers assured him he was being interviewed as a witness. Hooker left after speaking with the police for more than 3 hours. Butler said, but was later asked to return for additional questions. Hooker declined to be questioned any further, as he was not comfortable with answering any more questions without his attorney present. Butler said Hooker was taken into custody Wednesday at 7:20 p.m. and was transported to Nassau before being moved to Grand Bahama Police Station in Freeport on Thursday. So then he goes on to say, Terrell Butler, the attorney for Brian Hooker, said it will be interesting to see what evidence the police have against her client. All attorneys are going to stick up for their clients, aren't they? Whether or not they're innocent or, even if they're guilty, the attorneys are going to try and defend their client. Hooker had been arrested in connection with his wife's disappearance and has not been charged as of yet. Butler said prosecutors must prove intent and that there is no other witnesses in the disappearance of Lynn Hooker. Well, if you're in the middle of the ocean and there's only two of you on a small little boat, there is going to be no witnesses. Seagulls can't be a witness. So, the fish can't be a witness. So it is his word only, isn't it? On what he says happened. It's just his word. They're going to have to really find some evidence of how she went overboard. He has clearly not said that he has done any acts to cause any harm to her, and clearly has not shown or said any intention to harm her, Butler told Fox News Digital on Thursday. It would be interesting to see what evidence they would be relying on. Butler said she expects to meet with Brian and the police on Friday, where she will learn more about the allegations. So I should imagine, because I'm doing this as a part 2, I'll be doing a part 3, and then I'll have to learn how to do playlists on my channel. Officials said Lynette Hooker went missing Saturday evening near Hopetown while on the boat with her husband. Butler says Hooker denies any wrongdoing in his wife's disappearance. Brian Hooker's attorney denied allegations made by his stepdaughter that he may be involved with his wife's disappearance. He has, from the beginning, been denying these allegations, Hooker's attorney, Terrell Butler, told Fox News Digital. But at the same time, he is reluctant to say anything negative about her. That is the position at this point. Well, if he is guilty of pushing her over and he's lying to say that she fell over, of course he's only going to say good, positive things about his wife to make him look like the doting husband that he isn't. And that they had the perfect marriage when they didn't have the perfect marriage. And I really feel sorry for Lynette's daughter, Carly. She must be going through turmoil at the moment. And I will link a GoFundMe page as well, because she started up a GoFundMe and, she's got a good few donations at the moment, but I will bring that up in a minute. A voicemail Brian Hooker sent to his stepdaughter, Carly, revealed what he told family members after his wife, Lynette Hooker, disappeared in the Bahamas on Saturday evening. Hooker said in messages that he received a call from Hopetown Volunteer Fire and Rescue saying responders had found a flotation device. He said he threw to Lynette Hooker after she fell overboard. Well, if I can find that picture. On that picture that we saw the other day, I know that's not going to be the same one. But on the picture they had obviously someone else had took the picture of them because they were both on the lifeboat, like here. you can see there's no flotation devices there. They got the anti-slip mats to sit on, you know, but it's clear that they don't wear any flotation devices. And, you know, I can't say there wasn't like a float inside the boat, because obviously no one was there. There's no cameras footage. So we don't know if they did happen to put something in the boat. So yeah, so let's get back to that. And it says, so that's what they, oh, let me start again. He told his stepdaughter that Lynette Hooker had not been found, but said search crews could narrow their efforts to a smaller area. Oh gosh, me and my mouth today. Hello, honey. I just got a call from Hopetown Volunteer Fire and Rescue. They found a flotation device that I threw to Mum when she fell overboard. So they haven't found her yet, but can focus on all of their efforts in a small area. But they're still out there searching today, Hooker said in the audio. So that bit there where I said that's that is how they pronounced it, not me having a funny 5 minutes with my mouth and my words. I'll play this interview in a minute because that's his attorney. We know he was in custody at 7:20. Terrell Butler told Fox News Digital that Hooker gave a voluntary statement to the police, believing he would be assisting in the search for his wife, Lynette, who went missing Saturday evening. Butler said Thursday evening was the first time she spoke with Hooker, and the police have not shared what evidence they got against him, adding that Hooker maintains his innocent. According to Butler, police initially interviewed Hooker, released him before bringing him back for further questionings. Don't you do that to me, Flicker. So, you know, they got a case today to see what, you know, what's going to happen. So a former neighbor of Brian Hooker described him as having a very anger past and being very abrasive, but said he does not believe the disappearance of Hooker's wife in the Bahamas involved foul play. The neighbor who spoke to Fox Digital on the condition of anonymity said Hooker was very rough, very jagged, but also very no bullshit, straight to the point. This is it. There is no grey with it. You had a black or you had a white, and the neighbor said, adding that it may stem from Hooker's formal military training. The neighbor said he does not believe Hooker harmed his wife. I still don't believe he did anything. You know, Sinister, I don't believe in this foul play, the neighbor said. Just seeing if there's anything else I need to read out. We know. So going back a few years ago, Brian Hooker was arrested in Kentwood, Michigan in 2015 and spent a night in county jail after an alleged domestic incident involving her husband. Brian Hooker, the documents show, according to the report, both Brian and Lynette accused each other of assault during the February 2015 altercation. Lynette Hooker was arrested on charges of assault and battery / simple assault, though the warrant was later denied because of insufficient evidence as to who started the assault. Brian Hooker, who was intoxicated at the time, had blood coming from his nose, according to the police report. He told police his wife, who said was also drunk, had struck him in the face multiple times during the altercation, according to the documents. We still know she went missing. Right, let's play this voicemail. I'll get my headphones on so I can hear it too. Just check that you can see it. Right, let's do this large screen a minute.
Hello, honey. I just got a call from Oaktown Search and Rescue, and I found a flotation device that I threw to mom when she fell overboard, and so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area, and they're still out there searching today. So I just wanted to update you and let you know. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.
So stop showing that one. And then I need to make it smaller and go back to his attorney. Right, so make that one bigger. Oh, a minute. Got to check you can see it first. Nope, see, it's good job I checked that. Otherwise, you would be seeing my face all over again. Like I did yesterday a couple of times. Right.
He contacted me and mentioned that he had given a statement to the police and that he wanted legal representation to ensure that he was doing the right thing. The statement to the police was in order to assist them so that they could use that in the recovery and search of his wife. However, he had hired a boat and I intended to bolt yesterday to partake in the search. When he was called in to do an interview as a witness, he alleges that while he was disembarking on from the vessel, he fell because the weather was pretty rough. It was very choppy, and so he lost his balance. He fell overboard and had to be rescued by the officers. And he says that he received injuries as a result. He had a bruise on his knee, which is visible, and he said he's experiencing pain in that knee and he is limping. He requested medical assistance. He appeared heartbroken. He was crying at one point when he was talking about his wife and how she was his partner and everything. She assisted him with everything. So he had a moment, yes, because in any criminal matter, especially a matter of this nature, you need to prove tension and action, actus reus and mens rea. And so if he's the only one who can speak to what would happen, and he has clearly not said that he has done any act to cause any harm to her, and he clearly has not shown or said any intention to harm her. It would be interesting to see what evidence they would be relying on to prove whatever they are investigated.
So that was that then. Let me stop showing that one. And then I'll go back on to the next one. But, if he did do anything to his wife, you're going to say to the police, you didn't do nothing to your wife, because unless you're 100% honest person and you never tell lies, then you would come clean and say, oh yeah, didn't like her, pushed her over. You'd admit to it, and then you'll be on probably, probable cause for murder or with intent and things like that. So I'll play the next one. This is with Ashley Banfield and the Lynette's Daughter. I only saw part of this last night. Got to check that there's no adverts first. There might be an advert halfway through. I thought I was joining her. I'll have to join that in a minute. Right, just check she's up there. Make it full screen.
Bahamian police that she just fell overboard. And then I drifted for 9 hours and then called the police. And there's a whole lot more to it. In my episode yesterday, I was pretty specific about the facts that we know so far. But today I've learned a lot more about this case. I've had a long conversation with Lynette Hooker's daughter. Lynette is the woman who's missing. Lynette and her husband, Brian Hooker, the two of them had set sail in their retirement and were living on a boat called Soulmate. It's a 55-foot keel boat, and they were sailing in the Bahamas, and they were specifically in the northern part of the Bahamas. Bahamas is islands and islands and islands, and the Abaco Islands are up in the northern part of the Bahamas. And one particular area is called Elbow Key. And if you look on a map, you can see it's a 6-mile long barrier island, and it's located in the Abaco Islands. And that's where they were. The boat was moored. They had used a tender, one of those little rubberized 8-foot dinghies, to go to shore and go to a restaurant. And as they were coming back in the dinghy, Brian told the police that Lynette just bounced out and she had the key and the engine wouldn't work without her, and the current took her away, and that was that. I had so many questions about an engine that needs a key when it's an itty bitty little engine, because we've now confirmed that the pictures you're seeing were the actual little dinghy in question, the tender, the 8-foot tender with that little electric motor on the back that only goes a couple knots, super slow. So bounced out, hard time believing that. Even with waves, you'd go like that. You wouldn't go bang, 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 because it doesn't get a lot of speed. And then the issue with the keys, interestingly, Carly Aylesworth, Lynette's daughter, has cleared up a lot of information for me regarding that engine and the keys. And it's like a kill switch. It's something you actually plug in. It's got a string off of it, and it gets the engine going. And it would require that Lynette would have probably been at the helm to have grabbed the string, pulled it out, and took it with her as she's going overboard. So a lot of that, again, pretty hard to believe. I'll suspend disbelief in the interest of everybody deserves, you're not guilty till proven. So anyway, Brian Hooker has been detained in the Bahamas. He's not charged yet as of this recording, and it is 11:40 a.m. on Thursday, April 9th. And so we're watching developments in the Bahamas, but I do have some really interesting information. I have been scratching my head about the story that Brian told the police. He left the restaurant with Lynette at 7:30 at night to head back out to their yacht. From the land, they had to head back out to their yacht using this little, tender, which is what I call it. It's just a rubberized dinghy with a hard bottom. That was at 7:30 at night. But it wasn't until 4 o'clock in the morning that he ended up floating / paddling / blowing in the wind and beaching up on land and going through all of the brush, according to authorities, to find help and then call police. Almost 9 hours. So I kept wondering what was going on for those 9 hours. And interestingly, Carly has told me that she's been able to actually track Brian's movements using the automatic identification system, AIS tracking system. Basically, it's a shipboard system. It uses transponders to sort of plot your course, your speed, your real-time position and data. And she's actually seen this course that he said he took. The data actually shows that he did blow that entire course. So that is super interesting. And it's certainly, that speaks well for his case that he has told the Bahamian police. But there are a lot of other really disturbing things that I've learned. This relationship was not good, according to Carly Aylesworth, Lynette's daughter. She has shared text messages with me, which I'm going to share with you in a moment. These are text messages that her mother texted to a friend about leaving Brian. Carly has told me that the circumstances were so bad that she had tried to leave him twice before, but that financially she felt tied to him. She felt as though her mother and Brian had been drinking a lot lately, and said that, this is what Carly said, that Carly's mom, Lynette, said that when Brian was drinking, it was so bad, it was embarrassing for the people around them to see his behavior. Also, there was talk of divorce. According to Carly, her mother had talked about divorce. And when I specifically asked Carly if she thinks that her stepfather killed her mom, her answer is harrowing. So you're going to see that entire conversation in just a moment. But I want to read for you some of the text messages that Lynette shared with a friend of hers. Some of them are from 2015 and some of them are from 2022. So let me start with the text message most recently from 2022. Lynette says to her friend, "Nothing but fighting since we bought the boat. Then he started turning to insults. So I packed my stuff and left. I'm in Florida visiting parents. I'm okay with it. I feel nothing. It's something I probably should have done 15 years ago. But now I need to find a job. I gave up everything I worked for. There's nothing to fight over. It's scary and exciting at the same time. I'm lucky to have awesome parents who support me, but I'll never marry again." Those again are messages from Lynette to her friend in 2022. And in one text to the same friend in 2015, Lynette says, "I was warned. He came with too much baggage." You should know that, as Carly describes it, her mom and Brian were retired and they were living on their 55-foot keelboat called Soulmate and sailing around. So this was supposed to be, living the dream in retirement. And that, if her mom wanted to leave, there was really nowhere to go because this was their home other than going to her parents or coming back to mainland USA and being with family. So it's just sort of telling the circumstance that Lynette Hooker was in at the time that she disappeared. Carly seems to think there may have been life insurance, something that her mom may have been able to get from her prior job. She's not sure about that, but you'll hear how she describes it in our interview. I do want to share with you a GoFundMe that Carly has started. She wants to travel to the Bahamas to try to figure out what is going on with Royal Bahamian Police with this investigation. Will they charge him? She wants to see where this happened. Obviously, if this was your mom, you would want to go right away to lay eyes on this and make sure that what should be happening is happening. And so she and her family have launched Help Find and Honor My Missing Mom. Again, Help Find and Honor My Missing Mom. It's Carly Aylesworth's GoFundMe. And I think you'll notice in that GoFundMe, this is very sad, that she's acknowledging that it's likely her mom is not alive because she's saying that the money that's raised will not only help her to travel there, but may also be used to help lay her mom to rest. It's very, very sad. Anyway, Help Find and Honor My Missing Mom is the GoFundMe. I also want to let you know that even though no formal charges have been announced against Brian Hooker, the lawyer who purports to be representing him has put out a statement. Terrell Butler in the Bahamas has released this statement, and she says, "Mr. Hooker categorically and unequivocally denies any wrongdoing, and in particular, the allegations recently made by Carly Aylesworth. He has been cooperating with the relevant authorities as part of an ongoing investigation. Mr. Hooker cannot provide further comments to the media or the public at this time while the investigations are ongoing." So again, that is Terrell Butler, Bahamian attorney, apparently retained by Brian Hooker, as he is in limbo at this point. And again, it's early in the day on Thursday. It's just before 12 noon, Thursday, April 9th. So by day's end, who knows if there'll be charges or not. But, it took 4 days before an investigation was even opened. And it didn't happen right away with the Bahamians. It happened with the U.S. Coast Guard. Last night, late, I had to rush back and redo the top of the podcast because everything I'd done all day, the recording, had no investigation on day 4. And this is day 5 today. And late in the evening, the U.S. Coast Guard in the Bahamas opened its own investigation. And then today we learned that there is this criminal investigation. In fact, I think late last night, we learned that he was being detained. No criminal charges yet, but that there is this local criminal investigation that's ongoing.
Also, just to interrupt, last night when I looked at the GoFundMe, which was, I think it was about 6:30 at night, there was 16% of the goal raised. She wants to raise 18,000, I think it's dollars, 18K USD dollars. Last night at 6:00, I don't know when she opened it. She was on 16%, which gave her $2,848. And then I'll do a link in a minute, and I'll put the link in the description as well, so anyone can go to that afterwards. But as of now, which is 11:56 on Friday, the 10th of April, she's now 25% of it, and she's got 4,440 donations raised. And the description is memorial for Mum. She's currently missing in the Bahamas, and this is to help to search for her or to help to lay her to rest. Anything would be help. My email is my first and last name @gmail. If you know anything, please let me know. And that's by Carly herself. Because, it's natural. She wants to go out to the Bahamas and see what the police are doing to find her mum. It gives her an opportunity to speak to Brian if she wants to speak to him. Gives her opportunity to speak to his attorney, and also to the police, and to hand any more evidence that she may have on him over there. So, it's natural that she wants to go out there to find her mum. Any daughter would want to go out wherever a missing person has been reported missing from. I'd do exactly the same. So I'll carry on with the news bit anyway with
So
Ashley.
here now is my conversation with Carly Aylesworth, Lynette Hooker's daughter. And, she's had a very long night. She's exhausted. She's talked to the press. She's talked to the authorities. She's talked to the U.S. Coast Guard. They're helping to liaise with her. She's talked to the U.S. Embassy. So this has been a living hell. So I'm very appreciative that she gave me this time. But here's our conversation. Carly, what is the latest that you've heard from the Bahamian authorities or the U.S. Coast Guard?
I heard from my lawyer that it turned into a criminal investigation last night. And last I knew, he got a lawyer in the Bahamas to represent him.
Has Brian made any overtures to you other than that initial voicemail and email that he sent?
He sent me some texts and he has called a couple times, but otherwise, no.
And when he called, were you able to answer the phone? Did you have a conversation with him?
No, I did not. I just let it go to voicemail.
And what effectively did he say in those texts and voicemails?
Just that he wants to be there for Rosie and I, his other daughter, and that he's doing what he can to look for her.
Were you able to ask him any questions back, meaning what happened, lay it out for me, sort of get him on the record saying what he says happened to your mom?
When he called me Sunday night, I was still in shock when he was talking to me, so I didn't really say much. I just said, okay. It's just trying to process that. He tried to say that he was going to come up and visit and he would like to see us, but I didn't respond to that. And then he quickly got off the phone.
And this is like 24 hours after your mom had disappeared, right? That he made this first contact with you?
Yeah.
Were you surprised on Sunday night when you got this information? Did he say anything about why he waited so long to tell you?
He did not tell me why, no, but I was very surprised that this happened, yes.
What's your relationship with Brian Hooker?
He's been in my life for about 25 years now, since I was about 4 years old. He has always been there. He acted like another parent to me. I just know that him and my mom had some rocky issues, but they never dragged me into it. So, yeah.
So effectively, I saw one of the messages he said it's dad when he reached out to you. Did you call him dad?
No, I called him Brian. He was my stepdad.
Was it weird that in the message he said, Carly, it's dad?
No, it's not weird. He has referenced that he's dad before, but I never called him that.
It seemed as though in the Facebook statement. Well, let me get your impression of his Facebook statement that he put out yesterday.
It was really sad to see. I know he loved her in his own way a lot. I don't know. It just sucks to see right now.
Yeah. Did you think at all that it sounded defensive before it sounded concerned about your mom?
I don't know. I don't know.
Tell me a little bit about the relationship. You said that it's been rocky. How rocky and in what way?
Just that they get into fights more often when they drink, and I guess lately they've been drinking more. So I'm just concerned that something happened that can't be undone.
And you know that they have been drinking more in what way? And how do you know that?
Yes, my grandma told me that she's been confiding in her and their relationship problems, and that they've been fighting more, and that it's been embarrassing for other people to witness. And she did send me a voice message one night that she was really drunk, but I just kind of like ignored it. I was like, okay, mom. She's like, I'll talk to you in the morning. I was like, okay. So I just kind of brushed it off, not thinking. Like, I knew drinking was a problem in their relationship. They went about a year and a half being sober because I knew the problems that would arise. But I just kind of was like, okay, she's an adult. She can handle it herself, I guess.
Were you concerned about the level of drinking between the two of them?
Yes, drinking is not really good for my family, it seems. So I just wish it never started again.
Do you know anything about where your mom and Brian were before they set out on the dinghy?
I know they went to Elbow K, I think it was, to go to a restaurant. That's all I know.
Has anyone in the restaurant, have you had a chance to talk to anyone in the restaurant about their condition or what was happening in that restaurant before they left?
No.
But is it normal for them to go ashore, go to a restaurant, and then go back out to the boat?
Yeah.
And the dinghy, I've seen in their social media, Brian driving around in a small dinghy. And I wondered if that's the dinghy that Brian is referring to.
Yes.
It's that small dinghy in the pictures.
Mhm.
So on the back of that dinghy is a very small engine. It almost looks like it's a 2 or 4 horsepower. Do you know anything about that engine?
It's an electric engine. It goes only a couple knots.
Very slow. Yeah. Not the kind of thing that you would bounce around driving. Yeah. And did he at some point say that your mom had bounced out of the dinghy?
Yes, he did say that.
Did he describe that any other way? Like, is there any more description to what he said?
Nope.
Have you ever seen anybody bounce out of that dinghy at the slow speed that it goes?
No.
Bless her. She is so close to crying, isn't she? And understandable, because her mum's missing. You know, it's her best friend, her soulmate, her everything. It's, you know, her mum is her world. And I really hope they can find some peace and justice at the end of this, and whether or not Brian's telling the truth or not. Like I said, we can't accuse him of anything at the moment till, you know, proven otherwise, because we don't know what the police have got against him. the marine forensic people are very good at finding stuff that we wouldn't see or any other normal police officer might not find. But I hope for her sake that he is innocent and she did generally fall off. We still don't know if there's truth in the like the life float, the flotation device, if that was in there, because from the pictures we've seen in the past, there's certainly been no devices in there. There's been like a festival trolley folded up in there, which I presume they put the dinghy in there when they're finished with the dinghy. But yeah, it's a really hard case to prove, especially when there's no other witnesses. All there was him and his wife. That is it, and it's going to be hard for anyone to find Brian guilty. But at the same time, on the reverse, it's going to be very hard for Brian to prove his innocence, if he is innocent. So text messages that go back a couple of years ago, like 2022 and 2023, that's 4 or 5 years ago, 3 or 4 years now. So, a lot of people's relationships could have got a whole lot better in that time span, and they could have got a whole lot worse in that time span. And drinking way too much is evil. Alcohol can be your worst friend at times. It's so easy to go to, it's everywhere. So, I don't know. I just really, really feel so sorry for this young lady. And, not knowing where her mum is really sad. I'll carry on playing now.
Yeah, even with big waves, even if you were to go over someone's waves, it would almost feel like you'd go over them like a cork, not bounce over them with any kind of momentum, right?
You're right.
And let's talk a little bit about the keys. Everybody talks about the keys. Is it one of those kill switches that you put around your wrist with a coil that goes into the engine?
No.
What?
It's on a little string. It goes on almost like a jet ski would, but it just clicks in with a little string dangling from it.
And what happens? So you put that that sort of system into the electric engine and it starts it?
Yep.
How would it go overboard? I mean, if you're driving, and would somebody have it around their wrist or be holding on to it, or what? Like, I'm trying to envision how that key could have gone overboard.
I've never seen anyone wrap it around their wrist. So I'm not really sure how she got it. She would have to really. I don't understand how someone could grab onto it when they're in the middle of falling.
It seems odd. Was there a coily kind of
Bear with me,
string on it,
guys.
or was it just simply a device with some kind of a keychain on
Go
it?
find some research.
Just a device with like a little rope on it.
A little rope.
Mm-hmm.
And did Brian say that your mom was driving?
Every time I drove with them, she never drives the dinghy. It's always Brian.
Did he claim that she was driving that night?
I don't believe so, no.
Is it possible that there would have ever been a circumstance where maybe Brian had too much to drink and Lynette took over the helm?
Maybe, but I highly doubt it.
Did she know how to drive the dinghy? Could she have driven by herself if she wanted to?
Yes, she could.
Yeah. And she's a strong swimmer, right?
Yes.
As is he. I think I saw that he's a Marine.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out, he says to the police that they left Elbow Key at 7:30 at night, but he didn't wash up on shore after having paddled and drifted for about 9 hours.
Yeah.
Have you been able to see the distance that he's talking about?
Yes, someone got into his AIS system so they could see where he was, and it looked like he went up Elbow Cay like early in the morning Sunday. So I don't really know what happened between 7:30 and the time he went up the island or went up the coast.
What's the AIS system?
It's like a tracking system for the boat.
But that would be a tracking system for Soulmate, the yacht, right? Not necessarily the small dinghy.
There is one for the boat, but I also think he has it on his phone.
And so did you see his trajectory? Like, could you trace that he actually did float all the distance that he said he did?
It did say that they were in Elbow Key or K by the restaurant, and then later on that night it went up the coast.
And you could actually see the distance that it had traveled. Any idea how far he had traveled in that boat, in the dinghy?
No idea.
But it did show that dinghy traveled the distance that he's talking about.
Hmm.
Did the police know about that?
Yeah, I showed the Coast Guard.
It's fascinating.
Hmm.
Also, tell me a little bit about what the Coast Guard has told you.
From what I got when they were here, just that they were getting all the facts to know what could possibly go on. And then they went to Jackson to talk to more of our friends and family.
But the Coast Guard is working in the Bahamas. I think I read that the Coast Guard was part of the actual search and rescue teams in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
The U.S. Coast Guard's presence in the Bahamas at the Abaco Islands.
Yeah.
And so are you dealing directly with the folks in the Bahamas, the Coast Guard representatives who are actually on site?
I have not talked to them. I have talked to the U.S. Embassy in the Bahamas just this morning. Finally got a call from them. So I know they're starting to do like their investigations and whatnot.
What did they tell you, the U.S. Embassy?
What exactly did they tell us?
That they're not the ones that do the investigation.
Oh, that they're not the ones to do the
They can
investigation.
be a liaison though to help us.
They can be a liaison to help us.
And so you got a contact at the U.S. Embassy now, at least, that can help you understand the process and what comes next.
Yes.
Is anyone from your family at this point thinking of going over to the Bahamas to speak directly with the Royal Bahamian Police?
I think my stepsister was thinking about going down there. I know his sister's already down there. I was planning on going down there to look eventually if I can raise enough money, but otherwise, no one has talked to them yet.
And you have a GoFundMe, right?
Yes.
What's the name of your GoFundMe?
It is Help Find and Honor My Missing Mom.
So at this point, we don't know if Brian Hooker has actually been charged with this, right? Just that he's being detained.
Right.
Has anybody told you anything about the criminal investigation at this point and what they have found and what they haven't found?
No, they have not.
But still no sign of your mom.
Mm-mm.
When you first heard the news that your mom was missing, did you suspect something nefarious right away?
I was too in shock when I was being told, but as I was processing it, stuff just didn't add up to me. It just seems very unlikely that she would just fall overboard. And why would she be swimming away from the boat? Why wouldn't she be swimming towards the dinghy? Or why didn't he drop anchor and look for her? Just doesn't really make sense.
Does the dinghy have an anchor?
Yes.
And do you have any idea? Did anyone tell you about the actual currents in the place that they were between the yacht and land?
I did read somewhere that it was only a couple knots, the wind or the current was, but I did read that it was very windy, but the knots in the water, the tide was not going that fast.
So it didn't sound plausible. I mean, usually where you anchor, it's safe harbor. It's a place where you're not going to be yanking on your anchor all night. So the distance, any idea how far from land the yacht was when they anchored and then took the dinghy into land? Like how long was that journey that they had to make?
They did have to cross some water to get to the other island, but it's not very far if it's in the dinghy ride.
Any idea how far?
Do you know how far? No idea. I've never been there. I was at a different island when I was there with them.
And also, do you have any idea how bad the weather really was? Because he said the weather was, really bad, and that's why Lynette fell over.
I just know it was about 20 miles per hour winds, and it was about 3 knots the tide was.
But not roiling seas and rain and thunder and lightning. It wasn't a storm of any kind.
Yeah, no. I don't believe they would go out in a storm like that anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, the whole thing just seems very odd. What I have seen comments about Brian's temper in the past, things that you've witnessed. Can you tell me things that you've seen with regard to Brian's temper?
He gets away with his emotions sometimes. I've seen him do stuff to his daughter out of anger, and now I'm worried that it's happened to my mom, and it's something that he can't undo.
Have you ever seen him be violent with your mom?
I've heard stories from her, but I haven't seen it with her. I have seen it happen with his daughter. The same stuff that she describes happened to her.
And can you tell me what you saw with Brian and his daughter?
They were talking about something religious because she's super religious and he's an atheist, and she ran off, and then he followed her and grabbed her by the neck and was like, "Say yes, sir," to her in her face. And then we had to go to court for that, and I was a witness.
How old was she?
Like around 12. I was in 3rd grade, and
So
she's a little older.
she was a child when this happened.
Mhm.
And what was the outcome?
They stopped coming over. I don't know if he was charged with anything, but I just know that Jesse and Jake stopped coming over after that.
These are his 2 kids.
Yes, out of 3. He has a 3rd one too.
And does he have a relationship with those kids now?
He does with one of them, but Jesse, he does not talk to.
Since that incident?
Basically, yeah.
How old is she now?
30 something.
So it's been an estranged relationship with his own kids all these years.
Yeah.
Does he speak with the other 2 kids?
He speaks with Jacob over FaceTime sometimes, and then Rosie, yes, he talks to Rosie.
And is it Rosie who is in the Bahamas now?
She wants to go to the Bahamas, yes. She's in Lowell.
And have you been speaking with those siblings about what's happened?
I've talked to Rosie, yeah.
What does Rosie think?
She doesn't want to believe that her own dad would do that, which I understand. It's pretty hard for me too to even wrap my head around this, but she just was gonna go down there to support him to help look. But I even mentioned, like, I don't know if that's a good idea right now to get into this mess.
Do his kids have any suspicions about what happened though?
I haven't talked to Jacob, but there is some speculation right now as to what actually happened.
What do they think?
That's he didn't do the best he can to look for her.
Do they think that Brian intentionally pushed Lynette overboard?
They have a suspicion that something could have happened, but they don't want to say like for sure because that's their dad.
Yeah. What do you think happened?
I think either she did actually fall off and he just was like, "Oh, well, look at all that life insurance," and just paddled away, or he pushed her out and she was unconscious or something. I don't know.
You mentioned life insurance. Do you have any idea what the policy, or if they have a life insurance policy?
I have no idea. But I'm assuming she does from her retirement.
Do you think that Brian had any intention of leaving your mom? Had they talked about separation, or had they been having marital difficulties?
They've talked about separating before, and the last time they were together, he did choke her out and threaten to kill her and throw her overboard. So the fact that this is happening 2 years later is a little bit like, how can we not be suspicious when you've already said that this was going to happen?
Did your mom confide in her mom, your grandmother, specific incidents, anything that had happened between her and Brian?
Yeah, she mostly confided in my grandma.
And do you know what she told your grandma?
Just that they've been fighting more often lately, especially when they've been drinking, and that it's embarrassing for other people to see. And she has mentioned that it's not safe to be with him.
She told your grandmother it's not safe to be with Brian?
I don't remember where I read that, but she has said that to one of her friends at least.
And what can you expand on that? What did she mean by it's not safe?
I'm guessing just when he starts drinking, he gets a little bit more, he gets different. And she did complain about him, how he acts when he drinks. He just gets more like smart assy and feistier, I guess. So yeah.
Did she ever tell your grandmother or any of her friends specific things that had happened?
Just about, I think that she's told them more than what she's told me. But I do know that there's like a picture of bruises all over her back from one of her friends, and she mostly tells my grandma all of that stuff.
Do you have that picture of your mom with bruises?
No, I don't.
Who has that picture?
One of her friends in Jackson.
And is that something that you're going to forward to the Royal Bahamian Police as part of their investigation?
I believe they did, yeah, to the Coast Guard.
Did your mom say that the bruises were from Brian?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But do you know for sure?
I don't know 100%, no.
But her friend, your mom's friend, told you that the picture exists?
She told my grandma, which told me.
Right, right. Has anyone in your family ever suggested to your mom that she leave Brian?
Yes, multiple times. Every time she leaves him, we don't want her to go back, but she always goes back.
How many times has she left him?
I know for sure of 2 times. One when I was in high school and one 2 years ago, but I'm sure there's been more times.
What are the
I don't-
circumstances of her leaving him?
Um,
Like what precipitated it? Do you know?
the just when he choked her out, that's what made her leave last time.
So the final time was when he allegedly choked out your mom. What about the time before that?
That was in high school. She didn't tell me why. She just was in my room crying when she told me.
And what did she say?
Just that they're gonna get a divorce.
She had talked about divorce beforehand?
Mhm.
Did she say what his reaction was?
No, I just know that he was crying downstairs because I heard him crying.
Brian was crying in the house after your mom told him she was leaving?
Mhm.
Was he angry?
Not that I know of.
Were there any other times other than these 2 times that you know of that your mom may have tried to leave Brian?
No, not for certain.
And they were retired, right?
Hmm.
And so did they have plenty of money? Were there any financial struggles or issues between your mom and Brian? Did Brian have any debts? Was there anything that you can think of that would give some motive?
Not that I know of. I do think she has life insurance out from being retired from AT&T. I know he doesn't have any retirement from AT&T, so I don't know how good he's sitting. But I do know that last time they broke up, my mom told me that she's better when they're together financially, but when they're apart, she's gonna have to work if they broke up, and she was gonna try to work at the post office.
She had actually talked about having to get a job at the post office to live separately from him.
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
2 years ago.
And so do you feel that your mom was financially pressured to stay with Brian against her will?
Probably not.
But she mentioned to you that she's financially stronger when she's with him, and if she's not with him, she would have to get a job and come out of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Was there retirement to be on the boat and sail around the world, or were they just on a visit to the boat?
Their plan was to stay on the boat and travel around.
So they were living on the Soulmate yacht.
Yeah,
A 55-foot yacht?
something around there. Yeah.
Did they sell their belongings back at home?
Yep.
So that was their home. I mean, there was nowhere for your mom to go. If she wanted to get off the yacht, she didn't have another home to go to.
Exactly.
Did she ever tell your mom that it was a mistake, that she wished she hadn't gotten on the yacht,
Probably.
but didn't mention anything to you?
I do have text saying that she sold everything to be living this dream, and now has to leave it or something like that. She sent text messages to my friend or one of her work friends about it.
So tell me a little bit more about those texts.
Thank you. Right here. Nothing but fighting since we bought the boat. Then he started turning to insults, so I packed my stuff and left. I'm in Florida visiting the parents. This was in 2022. Yeah, that's basically.
Are there any other texts like that?
She said it's something I probably should have done 15 years ago was to leave him. Yeah. That's basically it.
Who are these texts to?
Her name's Corey.
Is that a friend?
She used to be a friend, yeah, a work friend. I don't know if they're still close, but I know they were at one time.
And these were texts that Corey sent you
Yeah.
in light of everything that's happened?
Mhm.
Were there any other texts that they sent? Her friends? Or your
No.
mom? Or your grandmother? Did your grandmother have any text messages from your mom?
Probably, but I don't have them.
And are you in regular communication with your grandmother about everything that's happened?
I've talked to her every day since.
If you had a message for Brian, if he was watching this, what would you want to say to him?
I'm sorry this is happening. I really hope that it was an accident. I hope you understand that I just want to know the truth of what happened, because a missing person is a big deal, especially since it's my mom. I just hope this was an accident and everything will be okay, I guess.
Do you think that he killed your mom?
It's not not a possibility, but yeah, probably.
Intentionally?
I don't know if it was intentional or his anger got the best of him, but I feel like there is a possibility that something could have happened.
I just want to ask Lindsay, who's on the other end right now, if there's anything that I've missed, if there's anything I should ask you that I haven't asked you. Yeah, did they have a group of friends that were in the Bahamas, or were they just by themselves? Were there anybody around that they spent time with?
Not that I know of. I do know they have some boat friends, but I don't know where they're located.
So not necessarily in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Right, right. And Carly, is there anything that I haven't asked you or something that I don't know or that nobody knows at this point, but that you'd like to say?
Not right now, no.
And anything in the history between your mom and Brian that I haven't asked you about, you haven't mentioned yet, something that comes to mind that is important to this whole situation?
Just any support for my family right now would be greatly appreciated.
Did you ever fear that Brian would do something like this to your mom?
I feared that he would hurt her in some way, but I never would have thought that this would have happened.
You thought the worst it would be was maybe more bruises, but not something this serious?
Yeah.
And given the history and the text messages, the pictures, the concerns that your mom even had about staying with him, do you now think, in retrospect, it's possible something did happen, that maybe he did do something terribly, terribly bad to your mom?
I have a feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Carly, I'm thinking of you and I'm hoping the best for you and your family. And please know that we're praying for your mom and for you and for the rest of your family as well. Thank you for talking to us today. And I hope we can continue the conversation.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
So that's where it stands, again, at roughly noon on Thursday, April 9th. But I'm going to be following this. And I have a lot of questions for the restaurant that they may have been in, the last place where Lynette was seen, the condition that Lynette and Brian may have been in, any witnesses. I know there's been a call from the Royal Bahamian Police Force for any witnesses who may have seen anything to come forward. And I just hope the right kinds of questions are being asked all around that mooring site, as well as wherever at Elbow Key, the hookers may have spent those final hours before 7:30 at night, setting off in that rubber dinghy, that tender, to head back to the Soulmate yacht, which was supposed to be where they were living their dream. I'll stay on it. As I promised, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like. It really does help us.
Right. So, thank you for all staying with me. And don't forget, please like and subscribe to my channel as well. It all helps in the algorithm. Now, while that was playing, I was busy trying to find some bits and pieces. And I don't know if I saved it in the right format now. Right. I got this picture here. It's not a very good picture. There we go. I'm wondering if this key is here, because I don't know if that's like an emergency kill switch, but I think the key is along here. And you can see clearly when they're on the boat, you don't need to have it wrapped around your wrist. Like they were saying, Ashley was saying, you might need to do. So I think that is possibly the key that goes into that red thing. And maybe the red thing's just like a waterproof cover or something. So I found that. And then, she was telling us about text messages from, wrong one, text messages from her mum to her friend. Well, I haven't been able to read this because it was too small on my screen, but I found this text message from Brian. Brian Hooker said, we just see you all on the news? ABC World News said Lynette. I can take these headphones off now. They're driving me crazy. Then said, yes, brother, I'm afraid so. Off the dinghy in some choppy seas on the way back to sailboat. The wind blew me away from her and she swam towards the sailboat. We quickly lost sight of each other pretty quickly as it was just about sundown. Well, I thought they said in the news it was already dark, not sundown. I drifted and tried to paddle with one oar for the next 7 hours until I washed up behind the shore of the next island over and was able to get some help finally. We are still searching, a lot going on just now, but thank you for checking on us. Being on the news is a huge burden. Yeah, if you're guilty, it is. But he could be innocent. And I have just had my first ever news organization call me a few minutes ago. Then it goes on saying, thank you, friend. Our family is in hell right now. Search and rescue just called to say they have searched a bunch of areas today and no joy. They are going back tomorrow, but storm is coming on Wednesday. Please keep us informed. If we can do anything, let us know ASAP. I know the pressure on you is hard. I'm praying hard, and if you need to talk or anything, let me know. Do you have a place to stay on the island, this boat? Any way I can help, please ask. And then it's just saying, I don't know if I've got the other one to this. It says, good morning, Daniel. Thank you for reaching out and supporting us. I got the boat back to Marsh Harbour yesterday after the fire department brought me back my dinghy. I'm on a morning ball at a place called Crutch. Now let me see if the second text message I got is the same one as that. I don't want that. I want share image. Let's see if this is different. No, so I've only got part of that text there. So that was the text between him and his friend. I don't know when that was sent. Oh, there you go, Monday. So and she went missing Saturday, didn't she? So he says, yeah, so I think that was all the pictures I had to show you. Let me just double check. Oh, this was one other picture I was going to show you of him when he was arrested. So you can see he's been arrested there. I don't think that's him. If he does, he looks totally different, but this is definitely him, and this is definitely him. And that is their sailboat, and that's his wife. So it might have been him when he was a bit younger, but he certainly looks a bit different there, doesn't he? Your browser blocked your screen. Oh, so what if it does? I don't mind. Right, let's move some of these. See if I've got anything else before I put it to a close. And no, this was just the picture of them with that key thing. There's like a chain or a string coming down here. And that silver bit there could be a key. And like I said, this bit here, the red thing, could be maybe a push start thing. So you turn the key in and press a button. Or it could just be a cover so that no water gets into the key. I don't know. You know, I don't know on those boats. So yeah, so thank you all very much for staying with me. It looks like there will be a part 3 on the conclusion if he's arrested or if he's let go and presumed innocent. So we will wait and see. Oh, excuse me. Right, till the next time. I'm off now. So thank you for watching. Please like and share. It all helps in the algorithms. So till the next time,